Once upon a time, in the faraway kingdom of Adyar, lived a girl named Mina. Mina had worked at her family's farm her entire life. She has never gone to school because her parents did not find it necessary. She had learned everything from her older brothers who had shared their old textbooks with her. Mina had always dreamed of moving to the city. One day, Mina decided that she was going to go. She wanted to experience life herself. She did not want the life that her parents had signed her up for. She packed new belongings and told her parents that she was leaving. As she walked the empty dirt roads, she came upon a group of travelers. The kind people invited Mina to travel with them to the big city. That night, they spoke of the large, populous cities awaiting them.
But wait a minute, why would all these people want to get to the city? Why are the cities so populated? As seen in this story, people are migrating to the city. A leading cause of overpopulation in Indian cities is migration due to people searching for the opportunity to live a higher quality of life. To rural people, cities have a sizable reputation of providing success and employment. These migrants are people who are relocating in hope for economic benefit. Within rural districts, the people are mainly living off their land, which can be unstable due to the monsoon. So people seek a more dependable income. Additionally, poverty within the rural areas of India is a large issue. 2/3 of rural inhabitants sustain themselves and their family with agriculture and farming. This leaves rural citizens to see hope and opportunity in a major city. In addition, poverty significantly increases the reproduction rates of families already residing in a city. This is due to the ideology that the more people in a family, the larger the income will be. Furthermore, people living below the poverty line have less access and a tendency towards not using contraceptives and birth control, resulting in an increase of the birth rate.
Mina and her fellow travelers continued their journey to the big city. They shared their sauced food and thought about all the possibilities that awaited them. Finally, after days of traveling, they reached the city. The buildings were just as tall as they imagined. They were taller. People crowded the streets, yelling and pushing. There were puffs of gray smoke pushing out of the buildings, slowly blending into the air. It was beautiful and chaotic at the same time. Their joy was cut short. Night was approaching and the travelers were realizing that they had no place to go. They decided to look at the slums, but they were all full. There was no space. Finally, they were given a small space to call their hopefully temporary home. The slum was not pleasant. It was located at a bad part of town. There were none of the promised bathrooms or showers. There was no transportation, no infrastructure. Mina decides to look for a job, but everyone wants a job and there are not enough. Mina does not find a work.
As seen in the story, a major issue among cities is overpopulation and the inability to sustain the masses. The current architectural setup of the majority of Indian cities has not been designed to support an abundance of people. The population keeps increasing, yet there is not enough space and housing to accommodate them. Many of the incoming migrants have relocated to the city with hopes of employment. However, as seen in the story, there are so many working-class citizens that it may be difficult for an inexperienced worker to find a job immediately. Commonly, this results in a family or individual temporarily joining a slum until future economic improvement. There is a large pressure on infrastructure that can no longer sustain the people. There are no longer enough schools or hospitals or transportation systems to provide for all the people, especially the ones living below the poverty line. Cities do not have the adequate resources that are needed in a situation where the masses are depending on the functionality of their city. Furthermore, the increase of slums has created poor sanitation and led to an increase of disease. Poor sanitation is also a huge factor to health risks, for it increases the likelihood of passing or receiving diseases or sicknesses from others.
Mina works on the streets. She uses the money that she earns to get by, barely. One night, when she is especially exhausted and hungry, Mina thinks about the world. She listens to the loud noises from outside. She can feel all the people breathing, living, in such a small space. She thinks and she thinks, what could we do?
So what could we do? Let's think about it for a moment. A possible solution that would tackle a majority of these issues would be for municipal governments to invest in sustainably designing the housing and infrastructure of the cities to accommodate vast amounts of people. The Indian government should be aware of these issues and consider investing in small space architecture and sustainable design. Cities have few options regarding expansion due to budgets. In a majority of cities, there's not enough energy, money, or resources to perform a large-scale redevelopment. By utilizing natural and available resources in construction projects, cities could save money while still working to resolve these issues. Additionally, the initial cost of developing these cities will eventually be recouped and provide future revenues for the city and an increased economic output. By housing an increase of people, there will be fewer citizens on the streets, resulting in an increase of taxpayers and people contributing to the city and society. Another alternative solution to make rural villages self-sufficient and autonomous is to make cleaner and fit places for poor people by demolishing slums and constructing neat and spacious houses for poor at subsidizing rents. The government should not allow any new industries to set up in already overcrowded big industrialized cities. The industries, government offices, and headquarters should be spread out and decentralized and shifted into rural sectors of India. By moving large industries to rural environments, it will open up work and slow migration rates. To summarize, India needs to work on reconstructing the setup of its current cities by building smart and sustainable cities. The government needs to invest in building more cities and developing rural areas.
Mina decides to look for a job at an organization that wants to make a change for India. Mina wants to make a difference. Do you?